How's it going, everybody? So in today's video I'll be talking about how you can become a self-taught full-stack developer without having any prior knowledge or skills in coding. Now this isn't anything that's going to be hard set in stone that if you do these exact same things by the end of it you'll become a developer. That's not guaranteed, but I can provide you links and resources and everything that you would need to point you in the right direction. I'll be talking about a stack that I feel like you should learn and why, and I'll give you reasons why you should learn it. And as always, if you do enjoy this type of content, be sure to smash that like button. Alright, so if you've never done any coding whatsoever, I would suggest that you start off with these three things: HTML, CSS, and JavaScript in that order. If you've never done HTML before, it basically stands for Hypertext Markup Language, which is used for presenting and creating content for the web page. And if you're thinking about it in terms of a person, you can think of it as a skeleton of a person. So the reason I would say to learn HTML first, if you've never done any coding ever, it's pretty straightforward and simple to learn. And I will provide a link to a tutorial in the description below that you can follow and learn HTML. Cool, so as you're learning HTML, you're gonna see a technology that's used fairly close-knit with HTML, and that's called CSS. Basically, CSS in terms of a person is the exterior features of a person, like hair color, facial features, skin color, stuff like that. And in terms of a web application, it is the design of it. Alright, so as you're building projects in HTML and CSS, you'll quickly realize how fast you put into a box because you're making static web applications that have no functionality whatsoever. That is where JavaScript comes in. Alright, so JavaScript is basically a programming language that provides a solution to functionality. And the reason I would tell you to learn JavaScript as opposed to like PHP or Python is because JavaScript, it works really well with designing web apps. So another reason I would say to learn JavaScript as your first language is it's pretty English based. So that means that it's easy to interpret with basic English, and you can read it with basic English as well. And again, there are tutorials in the description below to start. Okay, so I want to add a quick disclaimer. Don't get stuck in tutorial hell. And what I mean by that is when you are coding and you're making projects and you're following tutorials and you keep following tutorials and make projects over and over and over again, you're not really learning as much as you would if you were to follow a tutorial and instead of just finishing it and moving on to the next one, keep working on the project and add your own little thing to it. Add your own little spice, your own little paprika, salt, or whatever you want to add. Just make your own stuff and add on to that project, because the way, if you do that, then you're going to learn more as opposed to just following a tutorial and being fed all of the answers. So I'll give you an example of what I mean. Let's say you're following a to-do list tutorial and the person teaching you is only teaching you how to create a to-do list but not to delete a to-do. So what I would say is figure out how to do that and Google search, look through the web, just try a bunch of stuff out, mess around, and the more you do this over and over and over again, the more you feel uncomfortable with the fact that you don't know what you're doing and you try to figure it out, you're going to become a better programmer. Alright, so at this point in time, you're sort of familiar with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript and how they work. And now I'd recommend that you pick a front-end JavaScript framework. You might want to pick more of a popular one, and I'll recommend three that I think are really good. Angular, Vue, and React. Those are really good because there's a lot of documentation, a lot of support behind it, and it also updates. Yeah, just pick one of those three. Alright, so I'm really biased here. I've only ever known how to do React. I've never learned Angular or Vue or any other framework, front-end framework. So I'll be telling you my reasons of why I still choose to use React. And so take this next section with a grain of salt. I suggest you look in the description below for the links of pros and cons that I've listed. Alright, so the reasons I like React as much as I do is because there's more job opportunities in the market currently with React. Not to say there's no job opportunities with Angular or Vue, but there are more with React. And there's reusable functions. It's hella fast when it comes to rendering components. It comes with a virtual DOM that refreshes the page whenever there's a new change that's made. It's extremely easy to test code, and it's easier to learn since it's very HTML-like. But in all seriously though, I would say that once you pick a framework, you should find a couple of projects and follow them just to get a feel of the game and how it's worked and how to use it a little bit. And once you've done a couple of projects, you should add to those projects. figure out how to add things by yourself. Basically, you want to be put into an uncomfortable situation and then try to get better from there. The more uncomfortable you get with coding, the better you'll be. So that covers everything I have for the front end portion. And let's say you like the front end and you want to specialize with it, no problem, just keep doing you. But if you want to be a jack of all trades and you want to learn about databases in the back end, I'll cover that right now. Alright, so I'm going to be pretty biased again. I haven't really done a lot of experimenting with different technologies in backend or databases, so I'll be talking about the things that I have the most experience with. Alright, so for the backend stuff, let's say you've been making a couple of projects with the framework that you chose, and you quickly realize how cooped up you are again inside of a box where you're making static websites. You're making really good applications with functionality, but you don't really have any data that's being saved. If you refresh, for example, if you made a to-do list and you created a to-do, you can complete a to-do and you can delete a to-do. But let's say you created a to-do and you refresh the page, and now the to-do is gone. This is where the backend comes in. Alright, so for the backend, I would say to start learning Node.js and Express.js. So you might be wondering, what is Node.js? What did I just say? Node.js basically is JavaScript that you run on the server side. It has access to sockets, databases, files, and a lot more things. If you're wondering what sockets are, a WebSocket, it allows you to have two-way interactive communication sessions between a user's browser and a server. Cool, so that covers Node.js. Now you might be wondering, what is Express? Sounds like a train. It's not a train. I can promise you it's not a train. But what it is a framework that's built on top of Node.js. You can also learn languages for the backend if you want. You can learn PHP, Python, and Ruby. There's also Java, I think, but that's harder to learn. Cool, so that covers backend and front end. Now let's talk about databases, and let's continue with our example of the to-do list project. So let's say you have a to-do list project with a front end and a back end, and you think to yourself, let's make a to-do, and I'm actually gonna follow through with it. So you make a to-do to go to sleep on time and get 8 hours of sleep. So that's what you do. You go to sleep at 10 o'clock, and while you're sleeping at midnight at, let's say, 2:39 a.m., a meteorite crashes through and only hits your computer. It didn't damage you or anything else. It just came and just hit your computer, blew it up, it's gone. Now you can't complete your to-do. You're so sad. But I have a solution. This is where databases come in. So basically, if you send information from your front end to your back end, you can send that data to a database where it can be stored, and as many meteorites can hit your computer as you want. It doesn't really matter, because your information is stored and kept away from your actual machine and your actual server on your local host. So what kind of databases should you learn? Well, there's a lot to choose from, and I would suggest choosing from one of the most popular ones, like Postgres, SQL, NoSQL, MySQL, Oracle, those type of databases. And out of those, I would probably suggest to pick either like SQL or MySQL or Postgres, because there's a lot of documentation and they're quite fast. Alright, so now you have the knowledge to start learning on your own. Start building projects, adding them to your portfolio. Just keep getting better, building, just keep learning. And I hope this video helped narrow down the things that you would need to learn to become either a front-end or a back-end developer or full-stack developer, as opposed to all of the things that are available in development. You have just these things that you would need to learn. I hope this did narrow everything down for you, and if you enjoyed this type of content, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see y'all in the next one.